A lot of asexual people that want a relationship without sex. Maybe they're aromantic. Maybe they require some emotional attachment before they partner off. I think that's more demisexual. And there are so many types of people that don't even identify as asexual who don't want to be married. We call them child-free, man-free, or if you're in Asia, 4B people. I'm actually one of them. I'm aware of the social, legal, and bodily harm and the percentage of being with someone who is toxic. And the risk and benefits just don't do it for me. The benefits aren't worth the risk. And you can say, well, that's a very negative view. Well, until you've been stalked, threatened, and had a few female coworkers shot through restraining orders, hiding, or fleeing, then maybe you can judge me. The problem is, in a culture that worships marriage, and only one type of marriage, with dynamic gender roles, when you set a group of people up to view something as better than God, then you are setting up toxic dynamics. There is no way that the required gender roles, the idol of marriage, the expectations of the married members will equal up to something beautiful every single time. Half of Christian marriages, people are miserable, but you don't talk about that. I remember in the 2010s, my mother would counsel in a non-professional way. My mother wasn't a therapist, but she was a very discerning, empathetic woman. And some women in her classes or choir felt very comfortable talking to her. And the things I heard them tell my mother is enough to never hold marriage in high esteem again. Biblical marriage is one of the chief reasons why there is rampant abuse in biblical marriage. When you put men in positions of authority and you teach this possible toxic dynamic, you should be in shock if it doesn't become toxic, because you have beat the odds. When you teach that only men can be in charge, that women are secondary, that women have to be pure with zero body count, and men, really the only thing fundamentalist Christians worry about men is the lust problem. They don't care how you dress, they don't care really what you say or how you behave, as long as you don't have shady internet history. They don't care. The double standards. And when you teach this in your home and in church, and then have the audacity to try and make it the law or get it into schools, every time somebody touches this kind of toxic dynamics, there's probably a 50% chance somebody is going to be traumatized or need therapy due to how these idols impact people's lives. Not all churches hold the same values on sexuality, education, and inclusivity. There's always hope that certain denominations and religions can move forward in progressive behavior. Some churches are more mainstream than others. Some go after inclusivity. I think that's great. But the churches or denominations associated with Christian fundamentalism are not consistently inclusive. They go out of their way to constantly mandate their dogma. Baptists, no female preachers, no women in senior leadership. They love their white privilege, and until the majority of people in church forces them to acknowledge their racism and sexism, nothing will change. Christian fundamentalism believe that women are responsible for every bad thing, especially if you believe in Calvinism. Because if they can get the toxic gender dynamics and the toxic Christian fundamentalist view of biblical marriage into secular classrooms, then they can indoctrinate the rest of the planet into abusive dynamics. And it's all about control. If you've watched or read The Handmaid's Tale, you know what happens when religion enters government, when religion enters people's bedrooms, when religion enters the family. Religion should be kept at home. Religion should be something that is a private matter. If you want to get out and protest, that's fine. But if what you believe and what you're protesting is impacting people's quality of life, human rights, access to good health care and abortion, the ability to walk down the street without fear, and you're not targeting people based on whether or not they were born before or after they became a citizen, then stop protesting. Because the only people you're hurting is anybody but you. We need to call biblical marriage and biblical relationships what it is. It's misogyny. Marriage was created to sell one woman from one man to another. Marriage concerning love, romance, and affection have only been mainstream since 1840. Before Queen Victoria married Prince Albert, wedding dresses were not white. Marriage was not based on love. It was all about the exchange of assets, property, and land. Marriage has never been about love until about 150 years ago. And it's all about misogyny. I'm not saying marriage is bad all the time. I'm saying the reason marriage was invented, the reason marriage has survived, and the reason men like marriage are not good things. I saw a bumper sticker the other day. Marriage has always benefited men. Divorce has always benefited the vulnerable. And religious nationalists now want to erode and remove no-fault divorce. This will cause poverty. Anyone of color will be ripe for abuse, mistreatment, misconduct, lower life expectancy, because abortion and marriage rights are always about racism. The people who suffer are not white elitists. They're usually middle class or poor people of minorities, not just African American or Hispanic, any minority. And that's why abortion rights, health care, equal protection under the law, under employment is vital. Because if everyone's equal under the law, that's when the real equality starts. How many hate crimes are linked to states that barely have any protection under the law for non-heterosexual people? And because fundamentalists teach biblical marriage and biblical sexual education, abstinence only, that increases STIs in those states as the peak states of infections. It's a pattern. It's all about privilege. We need to stop giving heterosexuality privilege. It's a viable, healthy sexual orientation. It's not the primary. It should not be the elite or the privileged. It should just be one orientation. Heterosexuality may be the most commonly used orientation. I believe it's around 75% of the population is heterosexual. Approximately. And about 25% is anything but. But that doesn't give the majority privilege. Heterosexuality is the majority sexual orientation. That doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it bad. It's just different. And just because asexuals are only 1% of the population doesn't make them any less valuable than heterosexuals.